I've been observing the trend of video games in the last couple of years, and I've really got to admit that I think the video game industry is falling to pieces. I don't have a script for this video per se. I've mostly just got an outline to kind of keep me on track, because if I don't have the outline, I'm probably going to forget what I'm talking about and completely wander off into a vent. I'm going to start off with the possibly biggest elephant in the room, even more than the latest news. Everything that's been going on with Overwatch 2 has been kind of a disaster. I'm reluctant to admit that when Overwatch 2 first came out, I was one of the people that wanted to jump on the bandwagon of saying, this looks kinda crap, it looks like a downgrade from Overwatch 1, it looks like we're being promised less than what we were getting in the first game. It's nice to know I wasn't the only person thinking that even back then, but it is disheartening, and it's made a lot worse by the fact that Bobby Kotick and his team have already pretty much revealed their cards. They kind of flipped the script on everybody. They told everybody that features were coming. They were promised way back years ago. Lo and behold, years later, the team's smaller. They don't have the resources they need to make the project that they wanted. Most of the people behind the vision of Overwatch 2 had already gone. So naturally, you're going to be left with an inferior product. I'll go ahead and say that I honestly wasn't keeping a very close track of the PvE by the time that I finally came back to Overwatch 2, which was actually this year. I've been dual booting my computer with both Linux and Windows, and one of the explicit reasons for that is, I didn't want to try and find out how to run Overwatch 2 off of Linux. I just wanted to run it natively off Windows, but that's beside the point. What the actual point is that it doesn't matter now, because the project, the game itself, is obviously not coming to fruition as it should have. And because they took their sweet time telling everybody that was going to happen, I'm honestly surprised this isn't grounds for a major lawsuit of Activision Blizzard. Redfall. Boy, isn't that a doozy. I'm not even much of a person for vampire games. I like the concept of them. I played Vampire the Masquerade, Vampire Bloodlines, whatever, on Windows for a short time, and I like the concept of it, but it's not really my cup of tea. I don't think that the game-breaking bugs were the straw on the camel's back. I think that came from the AI. Everything I saw from Redfall's AI and the shortcomings of the AI, the sort of things that were, even as back as 10 years ago, companies like Valve had figured out good pathfinding for AI. There was no good excuse for a company like Redfall to not at least learn some lessons from that. I don't know if they were under a serious time crunch or what, but elaborate pathfinding AI in games has been sussed out since, almost since the beginning era of gaming. I'm going to move on because I think most people have already said everything there is to say about Redfall, and I hate to repeat points that people have already made, but I really did have to harp on the AI because I'm just so ashamed of the programmers that couldn't take the time who obviously saw there was a problem, or maybe they didn't see there was a problem, but there were like game testers, right? There were people testing the game. They should have seen this coming. I had to move my camera for a bit, sorry. I don't like speaking ill of Minecraft, but I don't like what Microsoft is doing to it, and I think I speak for a lot of players when I say that. I'm one of the OG Minecraft players from way back in the beta days. I don't even remember quite what it took to get the game at that point. I think he just bought the game while it was in beta or something like that. I can't remember. But point is, I go really far back in Minecraft, at least to 2011, maybe 2000. I think that 2011 was right. Anyway, the point is, I've seen the game through basically every iteration and every update, all the way from when World Generation was a lot more flat to now where mountains and caves are, it's almost unheard of for the ground to be flat for more than a few meters. The reason I'm speaking about it in this video is because Microsoft recently did something I really don't like. And even though I am one of those people that went ahead and migrated my account because the writing was on the wall, um, I don't like that they're threatening to delete all the old Mojang accounts that are no longer in use. I know that comes from a fact of someone once said that they believed Minecraft was entering a state where Microsoft was going to try and weed out the Java players and force everybody to use Bedrock. And I'm hoping that's not real, but I wouldn't. I would believe it if they did that. I think that's the most pressing thing about Minecraft right now. I'm not going to make a big deal about a lack of updates or whatever because, you know, I'm playing more than one game than Minecraft, and I'm also a really old time TF2 player, so I know what it's like to not get updates for a very, very long time. There's a part of me that wanted to ignore this last bullet point on my list. Gollum. I think the most insulting thing about Gollum is the fact that it looks like a game that belongs to a different era of video games. I think it comes from a smaller studio. I'm not faulting them for that. Small studios struggle with resources, but there's no polish there. The game itself looks like it belongs in the PS2 or PS3 era. The cutscenes, they almost struggle to keep up with, I dare say, PlayStation 1 level cutscenes. I distinctly remember back in the day, I have just recently started rewatching old cutscenes from games like Final Fantasy 8 and Final Fantasy 10, and those were so incredibly polished. Um, but I realize maybe that's beyond this team's capabilities. But the point is that it seems like game studios these days are doing less now with the resources they have than game studios were doing back when they had almost nothing. That was the gist of what I wanted to rant about, and I know there must be other people that feel the same, but I felt like I had a unique perspective of things because I've been playing games for my whole life. It's been a big part of my life from the first moments I held a controller, and I can't say I really like the evolution because it seems so much less about the actual game than it does about making money, and I'm seeing a lot of that everywhere, and it's starting to cost not only the customers but the developers as well because they aren't learning from their mistakes. I think it would behoove most of us to temper our expectations out of anything out of the AAA games industry. And to be completely honest, I stopped having expectations of the AAA gaming industry a few years ago. I moved over almost explicitly to indie gaming recently because I saw where the train was headed, and as soon as I saw it, you know, ricketing along the tracks, as soon as I saw it was about to derail, I got off. I didn't want to stick around and watch exactly what's happening now that I saw coming several years ago, at least as early as 2018.